G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on Golden Pit to interrupt your regularly broadcasted programming. I don't know about you guys, but I was literally just watching the Super Bowl. I'm like, all right, I want to cast this game, but at the same time, I want to watch the Super Bowl. You know, I just want to see what happens. And I just witnessed right then 57 yards on that field goal. That was quite a nice kick. Anyway, let's get into it. We are talking about a different game today. We are talking about some Age of Empires. Welcome to Golden Pit. We got two of the world's best players looking to smash it out on this lovely map. Let's introduce them. In the south side of the map, in the color orange, playing as the Order of the Dragon, we've got Corvinus 1. And in the north side of the map, in the color green, playing as the Chinese, we've got Ayyubids. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Golden Pit. If you are enjoying this Age of Empires 4 content, make sure you leave a like on the video, as if I don't remind you to do it, you're just not going to do it, so thank you. Anyway, let's get to it. So we got a fun matchup, and there's a reason I'm casting this matchup. I love this matchup, and at the same time, I hate this matchup. It's probably one that you see quite a fair bit on the channel. The Chinese against the Holy Roman Empire or the Order of the Dragon. They're obviously pretty similar civilizations with very similar strategies. And the reason why I like it, or don't like it, is just because of how hard it is for the Chinese in this matchup. Now, I'm curious to see exactly how good the Chinese are in this current meta, because I've heard from a couple of pro friends, and when I say pro friends, I don't mean like just a couple of guys that I do team games with. I'm talking top-level players, that they reckon China is absolutely busted. Now, when I say busted, I'm talking S tier, right? We're not talking S plus tier like your Ottomans, but apparently they're pretty damn good. I will quote one of them who said, "The nest of bees didn't need anything more, and now you've just given it so damn much." Their words, not mine. Let's see exactly how that plays out this game, though, because I am confident we're going to be seeing late-game shenanigans coming out of these two players. At the very least, you can expect to see Imperial Ages coming through shortly. Corvinus, notorious for his fast Imperials. Have a look at this, and it looks like he might be notorious for a little bit more as the boar is on the way through. He's got the leash distance perfect on it. You're always going to be really careful when you're leashing the boar, just to make sure that you actually get it right to the edge of that leash radius, because if you go just a little bit too far, oh, you can see right there, big mistake right there as the boars followed him, will mean he probably needs to drop down a second mill now, unfortunately. He had it perfectly positioned, but I guess just didn't want that scout to die, unfortunately. Let's check in on that north side. Ayyubids throwing down the Imperial Academy. Pretty decent Imperial Academy here. We'll get the wood line, we'll get the gold, we'll get the mill, we'll get the stone outcropping as well. So this is an absolute banger of an Imperial Academy. So 10 out of 10 over there. On the south side of the map, though, Corvinus, has he looked for that survival techniques? He has indeed looked for it and picking it up. Now going to be throwing down the mine work in the back of the base. Hold on. It's going to be throwing it down a little bit further. So it's going to be 2 games in a row. We are seeing Corvinus now looking to play mine work as the Order of the Dragon. So no real surprise here that it's coming out. Of course, if you do go for the Ark and Chapel, it's just a measly 10%. You can see right here. And it might seem like, oh, 10%, it's better than nothing. Well, yeah, it's better than nothing, but it's a literal landmark, dude. It's 10%. So, yeah, it still feels kind of bad. But let's check in on that north side. The age up about to come through. 3 minutes and 24 seconds. Not quite your world record, but it is still pretty damn quick. Imperial official immediately getting trained out of that landmark. And where does he go from here? There's a couple of options. And let's talk a little bit about this matchup and about what makes this so special. The reason why this is a special matchup, at least in my heart, is because, well, you guys know, I was a China main a long time ago. It's been a while since I've gotten up on the old dragon, but I can assure you, it's interesting that I said dragon there. I thought Chinese dragon, you guys, anyway, Order of the Dragon. It's been a while since I've gotten up on the old horse, but I still know a thing or two about the civilization, the way that it plays. So what are we going to be looking out for? We're going to be looking out for Song Dynasty. I'm curious to see whether he goes into that second town center or not. I feel like it's a little bit of a mistake early to go into that second TC. One of the big things that I like to talk about when you're playing up against the Order of the Dragon or the Juicy Legacy or the Holy Roman Empire, civilizations that like to go grab those early relics, is that you want to get aggression out onto the map early. You want to get a couple of units out there just to deny those relics and to at least force your opponent to make some sort of military to respond. Another key ingredient of that is getting those walls around those relics that are a little bit further away from the enemy base. And then that way it's going to guarantee that they're going to have to make some units to actually siege those walls down rather than just get a free ride into the Imperial Age. So that'll be something that we'll be looking for. We'll check in with Corvinus now as he looks well and truly on the way towards that Castle Age. Has the 3 villages on wood here, so it does make me think he might be thinking a little bit about a stable as an option, but he's got more than enough resources to do it, so I feel like he probably would have thrown it down by now. The Chinese typically going to be looking for Zhukunu together with Spear, but I think in this position you can probably afford to go with Horsemen just because of the prelates are going to be coming out shortly. And you want to make sure that you can deal with them effectively. Alright, Corvinus doing a pretty good job of scouting here. Does spot out the Imperial Academy. Doesn't quite see the gold. There we go. He sees the 3 vills on the gold. I wouldn't say that that's standard. But one thing to note is he spots the stone and he sees there is no stone that's been taken here. So he's probably thinking, have we got ourselves a fast castle coming through from Averley as well here? Which, if it is the case, I do like that from Averley. Have a look at this. The vills coming out to... Put the Barbican down. I thought he was coming out to give the scout a little kiss goodnight, but unfortunately it wasn't the way it was meant to be. So I'd love to see Averley just drop a couple of units down, but he's going to go into the second TC. This is interesting because the thing that scares me the most about going into the second TC Song Dynasty is, number one, you're going to let your opponent get all the relics. Okay, that's always really scary. Number two, you're quite susceptible to knights when your opponent is in the castle age. So that's going to be big. Hold on. Never mind. Is he just going for emplacements? It's only the 2 villages on stone. I think it might just be emplacements. We'll have to wait and see exactly how it plays out. Where are all of his villages at the moment? It looks like a little bit of walls coming up over on that east side. We did talk about the prospect of knights and the fact that you'd be exposed to them. Well, walls are definitely a way that you can stop that from happening, though. Not the most wallable base. We'll say that much. Nice little bit of food on the backside here as well. Could look to wall across to the stone here. Definitely not a bad idea. Guarantees that he's got lots of food there. And as the Chinese, you definitely need all the help you can get when it comes to the food economy. Not like the variant civilization, the Zhu with access to cheaper farms. But have a look at this. We've now got double archery range being thrown down. Now, when it's from Averley's perspective, I don't think he's quite seen the stable that's come up from Corvinus right now. But on the other side, obviously, Corvinus sees the archery ranges, so he knows what is up right now. But he's not going to know what is up for much longer, as unfortunately that scout will go down. First loss of the game here. Regnitz Cathedral's up on the backside, but expect to see a Gilded Knight going to be coming out shortly. Maybe even a Gilded Horseman. +1 ranged armor will probably be coming through shortly as well. And at this stage of the game, he's just looking to really go quite ham with collecting that gold, collecting that food. No real wood collection at the moment, which is interesting because he's going to need a house shortly. We'll see a prelate from him shortly as well. And where does Averley go from here? So he's managed to get the units out at a decent timing here. Against the Order of the Dragon, you can technically delay it. It's not like the Holy Roman Empire, who get that age up at like the 6-minute 30 mark and they have prelates out on the relics immediately. You can see that Averley will have time to get his units into position. Walls are now beginning to come up on the relics as well. I'd love to see him do walls on every single relic. So you can see we've got walls on the second relic beginning to come up as well. He's only moving out the 2 villages on the minimap at the moment, contesting the 3rd in the middle. Has yet to scout this relic in the west corner, and obviously is pretty much just going to give this relic over to his opponent. Corvinus now up. Expect to see, there's the prelate. Expect to see the Gilded Knight. There's the Gilded Knight. So far, Corvinus is doing everything by the book. You could not ask for a more textbook opening than what Corvinus has gone for here. Even the outpost on the mills are absolutely perfect. I love it. I think it's fantastic, as my cousin would say. My cousin Glenn. Gosh, I tell you what, love that guy. He is. It's been tough. I mean, I talked about it in a couple of videos, but you know, it's interesting how when you lose somebody close to you, it's a bit of a wake up call, a bit of a reality check, isn't it? And it's just like, you know, you realize how important relationships or family is to you. Anyway, it's funny how I just came from that thought just because I was quoting my cousin. We got ourselves a Zhukunu that might get himself wallowed. You're a little bit too close for comfort there, Mr. Zhukunu. How do you do it, Mr. Zhukunu? How do you do it? You're going to have to drop the relic and run, I think. Gilded Knight technically is coming in, so could look to keep the prelate alive here. Keep in mind, there is a Zhukunu coming in from the north as well. Manages to bait this... Poor Zhukunu. It was, you know, you definitely had something coming to you, my friend. I didn't think it would be 2 hits, but look, that was quick. That was quick, unnecessarily quick. You know, we've quoted my cousin. Let's quote my wife. sorry. Anyway, that's a joke. That's a joke, guys. That's a joke. That's Australian humor, self-deprecating, right? Like, we make fun of ourselves. Anyway, Corvinus, he's playing it by the book. Gilded Knight now going to get out onto the map here. Let's take a look and see from his perspective. So he has spotted out this relic over towards the west side. Will begin making his way over towards the east side, but interestingly, doesn't look to really commit it. Now, keep in mind, there is a second TC that is not yet built for Averley. He's got that preparation happening. The age up is coming through. He's thinking about that second TC. He's not really committing 100%. And I kind of like the way that he went for the double range. It almost says like, hey, I'm going to go for an all-in here. But he didn't actually do it. He built 2 Jukunu from it. So, you know, I think back to the days of, you know, Red Bull. No, it wasn't even Red Bull Walla Lol. It was Nilly's Apartment Cup. Gosh, yeah, you can see what's going on here. Nilly's Apartment Cup for Age of Empires 4 in Berlin back in 2022, I want to say. Was it 2022? Was it really that long ago? It probably was. Wow, gosh, that's been a while, hasn't it? Essentially, we were talking to the mister downstairs, and Marine Lord at that stage was just completely, you know, there was no way anyone could topple him. He was that good. And we asked the mister, what's the best way to possibly beat Marine Lord? And he said, oh, it's easy. You got to build 3 stables, and then you just don't build anything from them. And I feel like Averley has taken a page out of that book, where he's built 2 archery ranges, almost telegraphing, like, hey, I am going to be making lots of Jukunu, you better watch out. And then just doesn't make a lot of Jukunu. He only made 2 Jukunu, and that was it. But the numbers are pretty decent here. One thing to note from Corvinus is there's been a distinct lack of prelates on the field. He's got 2 out at the moment, but there were a couple of easy-to-grab relics out here. He spent a lot of his time on the walls, and you can see how important it is to get those walls through now. Corvinus has managed to capture 1 relic. The second one's on the way back through as well, around the west side of the map, but towards the middle, that first Monk coming out from Averley will now pick up that contested relic. This will get scouted out by Corvinus. Now, keep in mind, he did have a knight in position. Not really anymore. So he's going to be heading to Imperial Age. A decent timing he'll have here. Before 12 minutes, he should be able to click up. But the relics is the big thing for me. He's lost out on the relics. He's only got 2 in the bag. And 2 in the bag is decent, right? But it's not good. 3 is good. 4 is great. And 5 is outstanding. But yeah, it's feeling a little bit sour right now. And I think this is one of those aspects where walling in the relics just is so effective against civilizations like the Order of the Dragon. Because as the Order of the Dragon, you need to get to Imperial Age as fast as you possibly can. You have to get there because you need to start producing villages. That's the key. But the reality is, if you're going to get there as fast as you can, you need to make fewer units. And the fewer units you make, the less siege you've got. The less siege you've got, the less likely you are to take relics because they've been walled in. And that's why it's so important to wall those relics down. But here, we do see it looks like he might pick up a Monk coming out. So could look to contest that 5th and final relic out over on the east side of the map, as it will unfortunately get taken out. Didn't delete the wall yet. Keep that in mind. One of the things that you always do when you get close to the relic, delete that Monk. He quite literally disappeared. Outpost now, looking to get that fortification through. Expect to see cannon emplacements coming in shortly. One of the most powerful timings for the Order of the Dragon is going to be that cannon timing. Once you've got that emplacement on the outpost, you're safe. You're safe from everything. I feel like the best place you could probably put it is somewhere around here, maybe even behind the Swabia. Actually, the town center's over here, so probably right here would be good. Actually, there you go. He's got an outpost right there on the tree line. That is perfect positioning. The only thing I'd just say about it is, like, I'd like it a little bit closer to the Swabia, right? You don't want to lose the Swabia. The Swabia is that's the most important thing. You got to be keeping your Swabia alive. Cannon emplacement now going to be coming through on this gold mine. Keep in mind, this is not the primary gold mine. It's a little bit further away from base, but naturally he's going to have to rely on it, considering he's only picked up 2 out of the 5 relics. So unfortunately for the Holy Roman Empire, or Order of the Dragon rather, not the best opening for him. Farm transition now starting to come through for Averley, and a pretty passive game so far. It's been very much a game of chess at this stage of the game, where neither player has necessarily been taking pawns, but we have seen players really building up their positions on the board. You know, the respective knights have moved out. We've seen a couple of rooks starting to come online. And, you know, I obviously haven't even mentioned the bishops yet. Look, fortunately, there's not going to be any kings or queens involved, as it looks like one of the bishops will be going down. And it's kind of wild how many similarities we can draw to chess. I guess, you know, when you think about it, back to, was it Age of Empires 1, the original? It might have been Age of Empires 2, I'm not sure, because I didn't really play Age of Empires 2, but I remember, I think it was Age of Empires 1, because I remember Spirit of the Lord did a video on the opening of the chess game, and it turned out that, like, the chess game just, if I remember correctly, it didn't work, because it was like, there was one part where the chessboard was shown, and then later on in the video it was shown again, but there was like pieces, like there was only one knight for white earlier on, and then later on white had 2 knights, and it was like, hold on a minute, what's happening here? Did he manage to get the pawn all the way to the end of the board, and then he just decided I'm not gonna take the queen, I'll just take a knight. Perhaps. But manages to keep the Gilded Knight alive on 4 health, brings it back to base. Now going to use that prelate to heal it up to full. And that is what I call good value. Have a look at that. You're talking about a unit that cost 500 resources, that was pretty much dead and gone, but now slowly but steadily being healed up. 25% health. Keep in mind that cannon emplacement is tucked away in the back of the base. He's got the relic inside. This is what we were talking about when I said we want it nice and close here so you can protect that Swabia. This is the key to your success. You keep it alive and you shall thrive. If it was to fall, then so should you. I was trying to rhyme it, you know. Sometimes I like to sneak those little rhymes in, but there was nothing in there that I could think of. I'm sure there's probably something that rhymes. All right, well, at this stage, nice little campy game. Guys, just remember, they are preparing for the late game. Averley going to be going in... Averley with... Mate, what are you saving for over there? You saving for a house in Sydney? I know the prices are ludicrous, but I didn't think it was that much. That's a lot. 4,000 gold for a house? Jeez, look. Oh, okay, he's gone for a Spirit Way instead. This is actually really nice to get into Imperial Age with all of this gold stacked up, because it basically means you can just get all the upgrades. So if you're playing Jukunu, it means you can get your elite Jukunu upgrade. You can get +3 ranged attack. It means that you can get incendiary arrows, and you don't even have to think about it. It just comes through. But one thing I want to look out for are these eco upgrades, because we have got new eco upgrades. Crosscut Saw has been completely changed. So it means now that in the Imperial Age, your villagers gather increased amounts, but they also get a carry or a capacity rate. Sorry, a carry capacity increase. On top of that, the mining upgrade also includes extra 15% more resources. So as an example, you've got 4,000 gold here. Well, guess what? Now you've got 4,000 plus 15%. But guess what? That's not it. You've also got an Imperial official when you supervise it who's going to stack that up on top of it. So now you're dropping off 15 plus that 20% from the Imperial officials up to 18 plus that 15%. You're probably talking about, I don't even know, 21. You're pulling gold out of thin air, and that's what makes this so damn good. It takes about 3k gold to pay off, but if you've got a gold vein like this that hasn't been taken yet and you can afford to throw that economic tech out, then boy, you are going to be feeling good about yourself, because by the time you get to the end of it, you're going to be coming out on top. All right, spears, palace guards, crossbows, and Jukunu. Not a whole lot of them, as this keeps slowly but steadily comes up. Will be enough to defend the Gilded Knight. There's still only one Gilded Knight out on the field for Corvinus 1. 18 minutes through this game, he's got only one military unit on the field. I'm not going to call the prelates military units, even though technically they can move diagonally. That is not going to be something I am going to consider as a military unit. It's only the single. It's only this guy right here. I'm the only military unit in the village. Yes, yes you are, Gilded Knight. Yes, you are. All right, so he's got essentially double keepers up at the moment. The Barbican of the Sun, no longer that glorified outpost that it once used to be. But where do they go from here? Let's take a look. I really want to check in with these upgrades, because I tell you what, if he manages to get one of these upgrades, I am going to be absolutely over the moon. Doesn't really have the resources for it anymore. Obviously has the Imperial official behind the scenes collecting some gold. We're going to switch it over to income, just so we can see exactly where these two players are at. And it's only going to be relic gold that's coming in for him at the moment. But have a look on the other side of the map. Look at the Corvinus upgrades. We're talking elite army tactics, scale armor coming through, elite upgrades for the archers also coming in. He's looking to counter the Jukunu here, I suspect. Maybe the crossbow could look to just be building up that archer mass. But we're almost 20 minutes through this game and barely a single clash has occurred. I tell you what, Drongo's got a way to pick him, doesn't he? But you know what? You wouldn't watch this long and then go, you know what? It's been 18 minutes of nothing. I don't want to watch the rest of this video. Mate, this is where it's about, you don't want to quit at the finish line, all right? We've talked about that earlier on in the video. Quitting at the finish line, not fun. Don't quit at the finish line. We're just about to get there. I can feel it. I feel it coming. All right, Palace Guard's coming through. No elite upgrades just yet, he says. There's 7 seconds to go. Looks like the outpost is going to be lending a little hand to the villager here as it does manage to make its way back. Elite upgrade now coming through, but you can see how much damage those outposts do. Jeez Louise. 6 ranged armor on this elite gilded archer. Tell you what, that's pretty damn good. He's actually got +3 ranged armor. So he is fully equipped on that south side of the map. Do we have incendiary arrows through just yet? I don't even think we've got incendiary arrows through yet. And he's going into elite army tactics, though, which, to me, is a little bit boggling. Yeah. No incendiary arrows just yet. That extra 20% attack's always nice. Does not apply to gunpowder units. Keep that in mind. Spears are upgraded to elite. He's got 2 sets of elite upgraded units now. Gilded Knight not yet upgraded. Men-at-Arms are elite and have picked up their golden cuirass. Towards the middle of the map, a single outpost begins to go down. And that's one notable thing that we've had a distinct lack of. Fortifications in the center. Normally when it comes to this map, you're looking at like 12 minutes, 13 minutes. There is a very big presence in the middle of the map. You know, the keeps have been thrown down. Players often looking to try and take advantage of the gold in the middle, trying to keep their own gold safe back at home. But we don't see either player going for that here, and that's going to mean that, realistically, Corvinus is putting himself on a timer because it's only a matter of seconds before he's got no gold left in the base. First gold, gone. Second gold, about to be gone. And now he's got no choice. He has to go to the middle. But unfortunately for him, there is nothing in the middle to prepare him for it. Now, granted, he's got 2k saved up. And sure, he's got 2 relics with the Regnits. You know, they're probably doing some work. But that's not a lot to go off right now. To the south side. Men-at-Arms going to be slowly but steadily cleaning up that position. Villagers, looks like a few of them will be going down here. One of them already has gone the way of the Dodo. Second one also will go down. A couple palace guards there, unfortunately, losing their life as well. But now those numbers will start to build. It's going to be palace guards together with hand cannoneers. The ultimate Chinese late game composition. Keep in mind the hand cannoneers are very heavy when it comes to gold, so naturally you're going to have large amounts of villagers moving towards the center to pick up that gold. Gilded Archers looking to actually tee off on the palace guards. Not a whole lot of armor on them, only 5 armor. Prelate also coming in, going to be doing a little bit of holy inspiration as those Gilded Archers actually do a fair bit of work there. I'm going to be honest. So Corvinus has spent a whole bunch of resources on this stone wall. And you might be looking at this saying, Drongo, this doesn't make sense. Why is he spending so many resources on this big stone wall when the reality is he needs to be in the middle spending his stone on keeps? And let me explain it to you. Fire Lancers. On the north side of the map, the Imperial Palace is going down, which is going to mean that Averley is about to enter Yuan Dynasty. When he enters Yuan Dynasty, that's going to mean he has access to the Fire Lancer. But to be honest, he doesn't even need the Fire Lancer at the moment. The Palace Guards have managed to make their way. They've squeezed their way through a single wall that was just about to go up. And now they've looked to run rampage through the base of Corvinus 1. Keep in mind that Yuan Dynasty will be coming up shortly, which will further increase the movement speed of these already fast units. 1.38. They're going to be trying to chase these units, but unfortunately the Men-at-Arms don't have a very high movement speed. We can see back here the Men-at-Arms has got a 1.12 movement speed up against the 1.38 of Averley's Palace Guards. But fortunately the cannon emplacement is doing God's work down here, raining down from the heavens upon the villagers below. More farm transitions coming through here. Corvinus really laying down the law, and have a look at the villager count. Can we just compliment Corvinus right now? He is well and truly ahead on the villager count, even though he's technically 7 behind. Remember, these are not your average villagers. These are Holy Roman Empire variant villagers, the Order of the Dragon. Oh, did he pick up tier 3? Oh, they're both going tier 3. Look at this crosscut saw copulation coming in. He's already picked up crosscut saw. I don't see copulation on the way, but both of these players have gone into the new economic techs in the Imperial Age. That is how you know the devs have made the right choice, because now players are actually clicking those technologies. Before they wouldn't, because it was just a huge investment for not a little bit of gain. Crosscut saw, copulation, now coming through. Keep will be going down, but keep in mind, that's going to mean that these villagers are now going to be working overtime. It is like the amount of resources that are going to be coming in are ridiculous. But now Gilded Archers moving forward, looking to take out the hand cannoneers. At the same time, on the front side, the Palace Guards doing a pretty decent job up against the Men-at-Arms together with the spears. And the Archers just going to look to try and focus down the hand cannoneers. Keep in mind, he's up against a very high range unit, 5.5 tiles of range, which technically does match the Gilded Archer. Unfortunately, he's outnumbered and outgunned, quite literally here, Corvinus is. But he does have double the military population. Keep that in mind. So at this moment, if you're a Giga Chad enjoyer, if you like the Giga Chads, then I mean, hey, it's 2024. If you're a Giga Chad enjoyer, all the power to you, man. Or him. Yeah, it's, look, they're doing pretty well at this stage of the game. Bombard has come out. Clock Tower Bombard of all things, we do finally start to see that siege coming out of the map gets immediately obliterated. More units rallying towards the middle. Whole bunch of spears, some men-at-arms, and of course, those gilded archers, of course, in the rear. One thing to note, we don't have any gilded crossbows coming out just yet, which I think would really help out in this position. Up against these palace guards, you get yourself a whole bunch of extra damage. Not to mention you've got access to bodkin bolts, which technically won't work once these bombards have got their upgrades. Once these bombards have got their siege works, then it's going to be a little bit harder. But you can see just how difficult this is. The hand cannoneer numbers really aren't falling. He has not made a dent in this at all. So maybe even thinking about a mangonel might be the right call. Keep no emergency repairs. Town center will be coming down to help it out. If he can keep the town center up in time. We know that there's one bombard on the field. Another one's coming in shortly. He's got the repairs. Everybody's been called forward for that repair. And it looks like he will hold on. Needs that bombard in placement. There's the emergency repairs. And so with that, should be able to hold on a little bit longer. Villagers now being brought to the fore. Keep in mind, acid distillation nor cupellation is through just yet. And there's the siege workshop finally coming in. We'll be looking to move into the culverin. And I expect a mangonel, which is going to help him out a huge amount against this siege. Now, keep in mind, this is not your standard siege. This is clock tower siege that we're talking about here, which means that you're up against a very formidable foe. A foe with almost, well, 1.5 times the amount of health it should have as a normal unit. So keep that in mind going forward. Now, the big walls have managed to come up on the south side. This means he's going to be safe from fire lancers. He'll be safe from those raids, those notorious raids of the palace guard as well. And slowly and steadily, the bombard is working its way down this keep. Emergency repairs about to come up 20 seconds. He's going to need to buy some time, though, because that second bombard has just arrived on the scene. Siege workshop coming through. 13 seconds to go. Is he going to be able to keep the keep alive in that time? He's going to move forward with his forces. We're going to enter into the cinematic mode because you know it's the only way we do things around here. Bombards teeing off down the hill. It's now on fire. I think it's now or never for this, but the villagers moving forward. The bombard will go down. Emergency repairs not going to be in play. Immediately moving back. He's going to throw so many villagers at this, assuming he's got his textiles, and the villagers managing to torch the bombards down. A third bombard joining the fray. All the villagers getting eaten alive, unfortunately. And now, more and more units coming forward. Keep in mind that Corvinus had a really decent position a little bit earlier, but it all just goes back to this gold, and the fact he's got to fight so hard over this gold, wasn't really set up, didn't have the emplacements down, didn't have the keeps down, and most importantly, spent all that stone on preventing something he didn't see, but rather something he thought his opponent may be doing. Bombards continue moving up. They're going to look to try and tee off on this back line. Town center could become the target, and unfortunately, the Gilded Archers, it's only going to be a matter of time until the Bombards start working through them. Bombard now going to be coming out of all things. Of all things, the Bombard. Where's the Culverin? Oh, the Culverin looks like it got shredded on the back line. I didn't even realize. You can see the actual death of the Culverin was sitting there. Bombards get immediately annihilated by the enemy Bombards. They're hiding underneath those trees, but I promise you there's 3 of them. And now the Palace Guards together on the front. I think this might be it. How do you hold from this position? The Bombards are just going to give you so much tempo in this push. You try and throw a keep down, it's not going to matter. There's 3 Bombards that you've got to deal with. On top of that, how do you even get any kind of defense online against these Palace Guards? The hand cannoneers are absolutely eliminating you. When it comes to the villager count, we're going to have to check in with them and see exactly where they're doing, but my suspicion is that Corvinus threw quite a few villagers away, and indeed he did. 104 versus 143. That is not something that you can be calling even Stevens on. He's lost 50 workers this game, and it's only going to continue to rise as those Bombards look to continue taking pot shots. 28 minutes through this game, Averley throws a third keep down in the center of the map. This is where Corvinus needed to be, and I feel like this is just one of those mistakes that could have easily been averted. It was just about securing the center a little bit sooner, and I think it would have made a larger dent. You know, you get that keep down a little bit earlier, you get that emergency repairs online a little bit earlier, and it means all of a sudden that Bombard's not going to make as much of a dent. Once you get that siege workshop down, then you can start getting that culverin out. But of course, that's all dependent on the position of the game. And obviously, Corvinus was doing his darnest, his hardest to try and get into that spot. He had a nice little lead early on. He had the villager lead, he had the military lead. The one thing he was missing out was that map control. And now we can see Averley looking to really punish it as he begins approaching the final curtain with 4 Bombards. Unfortunately, it looks almost certain that at this stage, the Bombards will rain down upon the parade of Corvinus 1. Is this the final stand? Keep in mind, on the back line of the hand cannoneers firing off. Finally, we see crossbows coming out. It's been a long wait, but they're finally here. they've got a pretty decent range on them as well. Keep that in mind. Bodkin bolts could be in effect as long as they manage to get through onto the other side. Numbers looking pretty decent here for Corvinus. Hold your horses, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't over till it's over. And now beginning to push forward, the Bombards will get access. They're going to jump up onto that wall looking to try and get through, but you can see they were bugging out a little bit. He's had to fall back. If the hand cannoneers take the high ground, oh, you know it's going to be Star Wars all over again. He'll have to give up from that position. Slowly but steadily pushing into the base. The outpost will come up, looking to get it through emplacements. I can only imagine hand cannoneers, if they get up on top of that wall, are going to have insane range. Yeah, that's it, baby. How much range are we talking? 7.5 tiles of a range. They outrange the longbow. That is what you're talking about here. Not only do they outrange it, they outgun it. They probably outcost it as well. And those bombards continue coming forward right now. And this is it, baby. The siege meta, well and truly alive, but even though the hero of the day might be the bombard, it definitely feels like it is on the back of the hand cannoneer. The hand cannoneer has been an absolute monster in this game up against these high health units that the Order of the Dragon throws out. And I think that's one interaction you've got to keep in mind, is that when you're playing the Order of the Dragon, even though your late game is strong, you make health or units that have got lots of health with them, which means units like the hand cannoneer excel against them because they have this propensity to overkill things, but not against the Order of the Dragon. Ladies and gentlemen, go check them out. I'll leave links in the description to where you can watch them live. Of course, Corvinus1, aka the Wallalol God, aka Salami, good friend of the channel. I'll leave a link in the description. Go say good day from me, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.